Hey guys, I'm here to share some projects that I made for my friend Taya, and I'll put a link to her channel below. We agreed to swap a couple months ago, and I'm excited to have everything finished, and it's just ready to be packed and mailed to her, so I wanted to go ahead and do the video. So the first thing I made for her is a lace book, and I won't go into a whole lot of detail because you guys have seen a couple of these that I've already made. Well, a few of these I've already made. But I used the Nature Garden collection from Prima to do this one. And I just love all the beautiful colors in this collection. It's one of my favorites. And if you haven't seen it, it's not old. It's only, I don't know, like a year or two old from Prima, but it's a beautiful, beautiful collection. Also from Jody Lee. And then on the front, I just did some handmade vintage lace and doily flowers. And then here's one with just a rosette and one of the cameos. And these are just some vintage bridal appliques. And then I just have a tie on the closure, and then the back is just a few more pieces of the trim, and I just have just a little bit of texture. And I did do some spraying on this paper because if you are familiar with the Nature Garden collection, it has a lot of really soft colors but also some earthy colors as well, and I wanted to add just a little bit of pink to it, and there's not a whole lot, so I did do some spraying and texturing to the papers. And the inside I won't go into a lot of detail because if you watch my channel, you've already seen like 4 of these this summer, but it's, you know, just the Nature Garden collection. Here's a beautiful sheet. And then this one is actually, I can't remember if this one's the Nature Garden or if I took this from the Art Journal stack. I know I mixed in a paper or two from the Art Journal stack with this collection because it matched really well. And then all of these pages are just from the Nature Garden collection. And then the back here I have just a little stick pin holder with Velcro and then some stick pins inside that hopefully she can use. So that is the lace book that I made for her. I'll set it aside. And the other thing that we are swapping, actually let me move it so it's not in the way. The other thing that we're swapping is a box, an altered box. So I made her one of the altered boxes that I got from Hobby Lobby a few months back, and I had been saving this one, and I knew that I wanted to alter it for Taya and do like a little kind of a sewing theme. So I used the Nature Garden collection again to line the box with the different papers. And then I have some vintage lace going around the edges, and then some of the tiny flat back pearl trim in white. And then on the front I just have some different handmade flowers from just stacking rosettes and doilies, and then just some lace. And this is actually, I made this, it's a butterfly, a fabric butterfly, and I got the pattern from Joann's. And yeah, I made it, and it was fun to make. The first one I made, I was getting frustrated because, you know, I didn't know how to do it. I always get frustrated when I don't know how to do something, but once I figured it out, it was fine. It really wasn't difficult. You know, it was just the first time doing it. It was frustrating, but really cute. So like I said, I got this pattern at Joann's, and it's in the sewing section. And then I also have some more of the bridal applique and just a little bit of bling on the front. And then on the inside, I did line the boxes, and I covered it with paper on the inside as well. I did line everything in here. Everything is lined with paper, and all the papers have been sprayed and textured, and the box was painted before that with like a vanilla color. And on the inside I just put lots of little goodies, and then over here I like this part, it's some spools that I had that I painted, and I added texture to some of them, and then I just wrapped some really pretty vintage laces. So all of these are vintage laces around there. And then the same thing, I actually took vintage cards that I had that they used to, you know, have the lace on or the seam binding, and I cut all the vintage cards down to size and put some vintage lace on there for her because I know she's really into the vintage stuff, as am I. And then I just have some rolled flowers here and just mostly lace stuff, and then in here is just different little things for her, and I put like little tags on them for what they are. So that is the box that I made for her, and I have a couple things falling out. Don't want that, so I'll close that. And then to the bags, I didn't really do a whole lot. On the ones that were plain, I did add some spray to them and just some like blobs of paint and things just to make them a little more interesting. So that is the altered box that I made for her. I hope she likes it. I had fun making it, and yeah. So I hope she likes it. And I'll actually move that because the other item I have is a little bit larger. The other thing that we agreed to swap was an altered clock. So this clock that I got, I'll start by, I guess I'll show it to you since I've already put it in frame. It's kind of a massive clock. So let me just show you from the top there. And then I'll set you down and tell you a little bit about it and move it. The clock I got was actually a Tinkerbell clock, and it was a pretty big clock, as you can see. And I deconstructed it with the intent of putting it back together and giving her a working clock. And I got all the hands back in, but when I was putting the back together, there were so many things that needed to be unscrewed and screwed together. And a couple of the wires came out, like they disconnected from their spots, and I just couldn't get them back together. So unfortunately the clock does not work. It was my intention to make it a working clock, but that didn't work out so well. So I do have the hands on there, and I just glued them into place so they don't fall around. And I think I set the time for 1:57 or something kind of close to that. The hour hand's not quite exact. If it was 1:57, the hour hand would be closer to here, but yeah, so I just set it to an off time. And I guess I'll start with what I did to the base itself. I started by gessoing it because it is a plastic and metal clock. So I gessoed everything, and then I painted it with this vanilla paint, and I added texture and lots of spraying. And I just used I think it was a couple of different Lindy Stamp Gang sprays, and then one from Tattered Angels, which is it's actually a chalkboard spray that I used, and it's called Astrid, and it's a beautiful, beautiful pale indigo color. I love it. And then I used, it's hard to show you the shimmer because this thing is so awkward to show you, but the shimmer on it is really, really nice because I used the Lindy's spray in, what is it? It's not the color sprays. It's the one that just has the shimmer in it. I can't remember the kind. The Glitz Spritz. And I used it in the soft pink that they had, and it just gave it a beautiful, beautiful shine. So I sprayed everything, a couple of layers of spray so that it would hold some of the color. And once I reassembled the clock, that's when I started just kind of decorating it. And I just decorated it by putting pieces of vintage doily around. This is not vintage, but this is a vintage doily. And then I added lots and lots of doilies on the clock face. And then the actual Roman numeral chipboard piece here is from Dusty Attic, and it's from an old one. It was one of their first lines that they came out with, and it was a big timepiece collection, and it had 4 clocks in it, and this one fit perfectly. This banner here is also made from Dusty Attic chipboard pieces, and it's just a banner collection that they had, and I glued it onto this lace, and I added a few stickers to put her name on there. And then over here I have this tassel hanging down with just lots of different pretty ribbons and some of this beautiful tinsel that Van gave me, and just some vintage lace here. And I got this idea actually from 2 people. One person, the first person that did it was Van, made a tassel on something she had sent me, and then Sabrina had made a similar tassel, and she also gave Van credit for the inspiration. And when I saw that, it reminded me to do it. So I have to give them both credit for that idea. And down here, I just have lots of embellishments. I do have some handmade flowers. And then I have, of course, some wild orchid craft flowers and leaves and little rose buds. This is also a Dusty Attic fence piece. And then these little pieces are from the Almanac collection, actually. As are these letters, are from the Almanac stickers. And so is this little butterfly here. And then I'm trying to show you guys. I know this is so awkward. I'm sorry. There's also an applique here, and it's a dove. And it's just a vintage applique that I've had for a long time, and it looked really pretty on here, so I decided to use it. And that is the clock that I made her. So again, it's not a working clock, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it's not a working clock. I would have liked it to have been functional. Let me see if I can zoom you a little. There we go, that's a little bit more focused. So it's not functional like I wanted it to be, but that's okay. Maybe on my next try, I won't rip the wires out. So that is her clock. And I really hope that she likes the things they've made for her. I had a lot of fun creating them, and I hope you guys like them as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me below, and I would be happy to answer them. And thank you guys so much for always leaving such wonderful comments. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week, so I'll see you soon. Bye.